Hello, this video is somewhat of a continuation of my previous videos. The more recent one, the Rod of Asclepius, and the serpent, the bronze serpent on the pole, and the same idea of as above, so below, as within, so without. So we will be looking at the 13th gate, the God particle, and the connection to the 13th cranial nerve. So the author of this says, I have been writing about the energy wave that opened the 13th gate for a couple of years now. It was called wave X. However, it was not a wave in the energy sense. It was an influx of energy, but did not recede like a wave does in the past. Before the arrival of wave X, which is azoth, fire and water, energy would come in waves, the frequencies would increase and then recede. Humanity would get breaks. The old system was under the closed infinity loop system. So, of course, the energy would flow sideways like waves do on the beach. So here we're seeing numerology of the outer shift, 2012 to 2016. So now we are in a new system, and it doesn't operate like the old closed system. As I have stated in other articles, we are now in the energy of the upward infinity symbol, which is an open system. No more sideways waves of energy coming in, only upward increases. We are no longer dealing with waves at all. It is far more powerful than that. Not only have we moved to the upward infinity loop energetically, but this has occurred within our own bodies. Our 13th mysterious cranial nerve has been activated, as it is the entrance to the 13th gate of the gods. If we were still in the closed system, this would not have occurred. But since the last wave came in and did not recede like all the others, it has lifted us up to the 13th gate and the 13th nerve. The 13th cranial nerve is known as the terminal nerve or nerve zero. From the esoteric and spiritual point of view, this is so correct as it perfectly describes what occurred with the last wave of energy. The number 0 is a circle which has everything in it. It is the void of creation, which all there is comes from. The simple circle is the most powerful sacred geometry symbol for this reason. The word terminal means ending, finished. This last wave of energy brought in the ending of the old system and the need for future waves, and created this new. When you twist the O, you have, or 0, when you twist the 0 or the O, you have the upward infinity symbol that we are currently under. When this change occurred, new energy was created. I wrote about this in a previous article. I clairvoyantly saw and felt the name, which is Manu-Ra. Kind of sounds like menorah, right? I'll have more on that later on. For a full explanation on this, please click here or go to the article. The M is the 13th letter of the alphabet, and it is also the middle letter, and we have 26 letters in the alphabet. 2 plus 6 equals 8, which of course, infinity. And this change occurred, we traveled through the center of infinity to above the plane of reality. I also wrote about this in great detail. But that is a different subject. Back to 13th. And now, on a side note, we also know that in the Hebrew alphabet, the middle letter is the lamed. And it's actually the highest letter in the alphabet. It's what connects the upper worlds to the lower worlds. It's just a side note there. I could go into further depth on that one in another video, which I was planning on doing at some point. So, the Trinity in the brain. The official medical communities are mostly in the dark when it comes to the purpose of the 13th nerve. This is because it was not operating. Now that it is, those of us that are tuned in can learn what the true function is. I felt this 13th nerve was connected to the thalamus, the pineal, and pituitary glands, which is the holy trinity of the brain. My medical research proved this to be true. The trinity is our cosmic egg in our brain and the last wave of energy, azoth, also known as wave X. And here's a diagram of the triune, thalamus, pineal gland, and pituitary gland. So let me continue here. This trinity is our cosmic egg in our brain, and the last wave of energy, azoth, also known as wave X, fired the triangle. People have been led on a wild goose chase, trying to find their third eye. Some were able to locate it and fire up the trinity on their own, but most could not. The goose has laid the golden egg. It is up to all of humanity, all thanks to the 13th gate, the 13th cranial nerve and wave X, the azoth, fire and water. Trinity in the head was fired. Once the trinity in the head was fired, the amygdala is now fully functional as it once was in ancient times. This is such a huge gift. The amygdala gland is directly connected to Mary Magdalene energy, which is headed by Lucifer, who is, sorry to break it to you all, female. The light bringer is Lucifer. And this may scare a lot of people away, but you just have to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? So we know Venus is the female planet, right? Venus is the bright and morning star, right? The bright and morning star is Venus. So let me go back to this document here. So let me reiterate. The amygdala gland is directly connected to Mary Magdalene energy, which is headed by Lucifer, who is female. The light bringer is Lucifer. Lucifer is connected to the number 13. The 13th gate opened the 13th nerve and brought light to the Trinity located in our brain. The true rise of the divine feminine has occurred. As we rose up the 13th gate to the 13th nerve, and to think we have been programmed in our subconsciousness to believe the number 13 to be unlucky. Wow. Now, I just want to also bring this information to you as well. We know the Vatican had their telescope in Arizona in, I believe, the Graham Mountains. They had their telescope named Lucifer. They changed the name of the telescope, but it was previously named Lucifer. So I believe what they were searching for in the heavens did occur, and it did occur as above, so below. It occurred internally inside of mankind, and it's not, it's something we can feel. We know something has definitely changed in our world, and we just don't quite know what it is, but I think we're all able to start piecing together the dots here. And what's also interesting is, so the Vatican has a character that they named Luce, which means light. Again, the light bringer, Lucifer. So this character they created, this cartoon character, is a female. It's a girl. So I think they're trying to bring disclosure to those who are open-minded and can decipher what the message really is. You know, you have to leave all your old programming behind and put on your new pair of eyes to see what, you know, to decode the mysteries of the universe, these secrets that have been held from us for so long. So, just thought I would bring that onto the table for today's discussion so we can disseminate. So, all three glands that make up the trinity in our brain are connected to our subconscious mind. This is what it means to be thrice great, to have all three glands working at the same time, completing the circuit. The 13th nerve, which is the terminal nerve or nerve 0, completes the circuit. Now also, I did some previous videos regarding the 2 lampstands. Now we know that the lampstands have the 7 cups in the menorah, which represents the 7 colors of the rainbow. And when you take the 2 lampstands and you stack one on top of the other, you get a complete rainbow circle. So that is what completing the circle also means, completing the circle with God, right? So we are like the upside down rainbow, putting our hands up into the sky, and then God is the other part of the rainbow, part of the menorah, I guess you could say, the colors of the rainbow, the 7. So we have a complete circuit, right? A complete circle of a rainbow. That's the complete circuit. That is us connecting with God, our higher self. So that is the hidden message, at least for me, of the 2 lampstands, is you're connecting with God, higher source. And it's also meaning the masculine and the feminine connecting together. So you could look at that as your right and left hemisphere of your brain, also completing the circuit, connecting together to make one, which is God's source, right? The higher self. That's when you do the great work, balancing masculine and feminine together. So it's really cool how we have all these answers, you know, in nature itself, also internally in our bodies, these secrets, these wonderful secrets just waiting to unfold in front of us. We just have to open up the box. Like, you know, I said, a child, you know, you wake up Christmas morning, you got your presents, you got to, you know, open up the box, you got to put in the work, and then the gift is within. The gift is within us. And the secrets lie within and without. As within, so without. As above, so below. It's beautiful. It's everywhere. God is everywhere. And, you know, just have to, like I said before, you have to be like a child. Be innocent. So, the 13th nerve, which is the terminal nerve or nerve 0, completes the circuit. Taoists call this location of the brain where the Trinity lies the crystal palace, as it provides a way back to Source God. Our crystal palace has been light and is shining in all of its glory. Isn't that wonderful? The symbol of the turtle is also connected to the 13th gate. The turtle is an old symbol for the divine feminine energy. Interestingly enough, a turtle shell has 13 sections on it. I guess you could say we rode upward along the vertical infinity loop on the back of the sacred turtle. Our planet Earth has been described by ancients as Turtle Island, as it is not flat nor round. It is the land of the divine feminine energy, which has risen. We cannot leave astrology out of this event. Ophiuchus is the missing 13th sign. It too is obviously connected to the 13th gate and the 13th cranial nerve. Along with the 13th nerve, Ophiuchus has been a mystery that most astrologers want to ignore and pretend it is not there. Well, those days are over. The 13th gate is fully functional in all of our charts. The most interesting fact that I love about the 13th sign is that it is the only sign that does not have an opposite. Taurus is opposite Scorpio, but Ophiuchus stands alone. And if you've seen one of my previous videos, it actually does have an opposite sign, and it kind of goes back to the 14 tribes. There's really 14 when you count them all together. So these are both different Stargate points. Sorry to jump around here, but so there are only two gates, entryways into heaven, one being the intersection between Taurus and Gemini. This is known as the Silver Gate of Heaven, where Orion, Osiris, Osar is located. The intersection between Scorpio and Sagittarius, where Ophiuchus is located, is known as the Golden Gate of Heaven. Now, we know why they keep talking about us entering the Golden Age, right? And then we also have, this year is the year of the snake. It's kind of bringing everything together with my video regarding the snake venom, right? So that has to do with the coronavirus, which you can lead back to the Greek mythology of the Coronis, who gave birth to Asclepius. So you just have to watch my previous video if you want to dive into that further. But yeah, these are all little breadcrumbs we're being given as far as to what is really going on. And, as I said before, the heavens, those are our Akashic records. We just forgot how to read the Akashic records. We were told that those are off limits and that we weren't allowed, that it was evil to look into those things, which it is not. It is not evil. It's part of us. The heavens are part of us. That's part of your Akashic records, your birth record, and the great stories of, of who we are. So anyways, I guess I could link this article in my video if anyone's interested in looking at that. So I'm sorry, I just had to interject on the article I was reading prior to that. Okay, so going back to the article here. So the most interesting fact that I love about the 13th sign is that it is the only sign that does not have an opposite. And then we just looked at that and we saw that actually Orion is included sometimes. It's a little complicated, but it also goes into completing the circuit. When you have the two lampstands, you have 7 plus 7, which is 14. So there again, we're given a data point, information that we can connect the thoughts further with. So, because the energy of this sign took us up the vertical infinity loop into the space beyond duality. We are still in duality, yes, but the new space of wholeness and oneness, 0, has been activated. Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer, the holder of our kundalini. Now that we have total access to this energy and it has reached our 13th nerve, our reptile brain that Ophiuchus is connected to is being reprogrammed. Ophiuchus is the transformer, and through this new healing power, our badly damaged subconscious brains are getting a new start and becoming reconnected and whole again. Now, I also just want to let you know that in the menorah, the center, the fourth cup in that menorah is what connects both. Now, if we look at this and compare it to our chakras, The fourth chakra is actually the heart chakra. So that is actually what connects everything. It's the middle point, right? So the heart chakra is a key factor in all of this because you have 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Number 4 being very, very important. That's the heart chakra. So just thought I'd add that. To sum things up, the God particle is located in the 13th gate that we have traveled through. The 13th cranial nerve was activated, and the God particle in our brain is now fully functional. What is the God particle in our brain? The Holy Trinity, of course, the thalamus, pineal, and pituitary. This little light of mine, I am going to let it shine, and particularly in going back to one of my previous videos where I discussed that we are in 2025, breaks down to a 9, which in the tarot card, that would be the Hermit. The Hermit is known for carrying the lamp, right? The lamp, this little light of mine. That is your light that you are creating. And what's really interesting about the sea creatures in the deepest part of the oceans where there is no light from the sun, these creatures have luciferase, which causes bioluminescence where they create their own light. So I thought it was really interesting. Again, nature is giving us a tidbit of information here. Luciferase is the bioluminescence of these deep sea creatures where they are creating their own light in the darkness. So, you can think about that and the amazing creation, God's creation, and how it works. It's always something that I'm in awe of, and how much you can learn just by, being like a child full of wonder and awe. And, it's just really nice that we have this information available to us. We just have to open up our eyes and see what the universe is trying to tell us, because there's always layers to it, So, I will go further into the amygdala gland and the amazing things that the full activation of this gland will bring. The full activation of the amygdala gland gives new meaning to the use of essential oils. We aren't in Kansas anymore. Everything is different. The wave of change came in and stayed, and it continues to carry us higher through infinity and beyond. More to come in part 2, and I haven't been able to find part 2 at this point. And of course, you gotta give credit where credit is due. It's always good to give people their flowers. So this is Lisa Rising Berry, and she gives us blessings to all of us. Thank you, Lisa Rising Berry, for sharing this information wherever you are. I don't know you, but thank you. And to finish off, guys, I did a video about the amygdala and a decode of Genesis and, the creation story, and how, now that we are in the age we are in with scientific innovations and, we've gone leaps and bounds. Maybe these things weren't easily understood by previous generations, but now, we're able to decode the hidden meanings here, because of all the scientific breakthroughs and the knowledge that we have amassed up until this point. So also, interesting, we've reached a critical mass here, which kind of goes along with what Lisa Berry was talking about. And I believe it's time to make that quantum leap. I think a lot of us are able and ready to hold the light, right? We're able to understand and comprehend and to make that move into the future. And of course, all praises go to our Creator God. And, I am just here to spread the good news. So love and light to all. Thanks for watching.